Okay, so we're diving deep into Miss Electric. From what I've gathered, you want to know what's so special about her sound? What makes her tick as an artist?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with special.
Yeah.
Her website talks about an intense personal journey, about unspoken language, and even transformative experience. It's more than just beats.
I'm intrigued already. So we're talking techno as self-expression then. Her bio mentioned connecting with music young. Is that common with techno artists, or is she an outlier?
It's actually more common than you'd think. A lot of artists in this genre find themselves in the music early on. The difference with Miss Electric is the authenticity, the rawness that she's drawn to, and how she brings that into her work.
So when I put on a Miss Electric track, what am I hearing? Paint me a soundscape.
Okay, imagine this. Deep, hypnotic rhythms. Rhythms that get under your skin. And it's danceable. Oh, absolutely, but it's deeper than that. Her website calls it a soundscape that resonates with the audience. I think that's spot on. Think layers, hard-hitting beats, but with these intricate sounds woven in. It's technical, but also emotional.
Technical and emotional, that's a hard balance to strike. I bet she's pulling from some serious influences then.
Totally. She blends elements from all of her electronic music, but there's always this unique spin that just screams, Miss Electric. Her website calls her a sound sculptor. And honestly, it fits. She's not just playing music, she's shaping it.
Okay, now I need to see her live. The energy must be off the charts, especially with how she blends those tracks live.
You're not wrong. Her website makes a big deal out of her live performances. High energy sets, electrifying atmosphere. It's clear that the connection with the crowd is important to her.
Not a studio hermit then. That's interesting considering how much emphasis her website puts on her studio work. Has she gotten much recognition for all this?
Not a hermit at all. She collaborates, supports the underground scene,
Hmm.
and the recognition is definitely there. You see interviews, magazines praising her unique voice. She's made an impact for sure.
This is already eye-opening, but before we go any further, I'm curious, how does she actually make this music? Anything about her process that gives us more insight into who she is as an artist?
Well, her website keeps the actual nuts and bolts of it pretty close to the chest. There was this one quote that stuck with me, though. She sees music as this powerful, transformative experience, like almost a way of life, not just entertainment. She wants to really connect with people on a deep level, evoke emotions.
So we've got this incredible artist, clearly passionate, dedicated to the underground, and set on creating an experience that goes way beyond just pressing play. It feels like with Miss Electric, we're talking about a whole vibe, not just a name.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about that immersive experience. It's a sonic journey.
Hmm.
She's crafting an atmosphere, not just creating noise.
You mentioned earlier she has a pretty massive discography. What can you tell us about her albums and tracks?
Well, her website has a whole section showcasing her work, which focuses mostly on her techno productions.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? And she's released a ton over the years, all really well received in the underground scene. And when I say well received, I mean tracks getting played by some of the biggest names and labels practically begging to sign her.
So what is it about her music that clicks with the underground scene? What makes her stand out?
You hear this blend of innovation and respect for tradition in her work. Like, she pushes boundaries and isn't afraid to experiment, but she never loses sight of those core techno elements that drew her to the genre in the first place.
That's a tough balance. It really shows her talent, her understanding of the genre.
For sure. And it's not just the studio stuff. Her website makes it clear that her live performances are a huge part of her art, too.
It sounds like she's mastered both sides, producing awesome studio tracks and those electrifying live gigs. Not an easy thing to do.
Absolutely not. She's found a way to captivate people through recordings and on stage. That's special.
It's about the connection, isn't it? That shared energy. That's what separates good from great.
Totally. And you can tell that Miss Electric gets that. She's not just performing at the audience, she's feeding off of their energy. It's a dialogue, almost, through music and movement.
I love that. A conversation through music and movement. That is a beautiful way to put it.
It's like that unspoken language. Her website talks about coming to life right there on the dance floor. But it's more than just energy. It's her skill as a DJ, too. The way she blends tracks creates this seamless flow. You can tell she knows music inside and out and uses it to really play with the emotions of the crowd.
She's a true master of her craft, both in the studio and on stage. And from what we've gathered, incredibly dedicated to the underground music community.
100%. She's all about collaborating with and supporting other artists, especially newcomers. She'll work with other musicians, share her platform, and is always part of events that help promote underground music culture.
That's amazing. Always love to see artists giving back.
It shows her character. This isn't just a career, it's a passion, a way of life. And she's using her influence to lift up other artists, secure the future of the genre.
Now, you mentioned she has several projects in the works. What can you tell us about those?
Honestly, her website is very hush-hush about the details, mentions upcoming releases and tours, but no specifics. A total cliffhanger. But her thing is future possibilities, as her website puts it, so I'm excited to see what direction she takes her sound in next.
Okay, you've got me on the edge of my seat. Based on her past work, what do you think she might have up her sleeve?
That is the million-dollar question. If you look at her discography, there's a clear evolution in her sound. Always experimenting, always pushing those boundaries, but always keeping it techno. I'm expecting something fresh, innovative, maybe even a bit unexpected, but I'm certain it'll still be distinctly Miss Electric. She has a knack for keeping things interesting without leaving her core fans behind.
So more innovation, more pushing the limits, but that core Miss Electric sound will still be there.
You got it. She's not afraid to take risks, but she also knows what works, what got her to this point. I'm especially interested to see how her live sets evolve. She's already known for incredible live mixing and creating these fully immersive sonic journeys for the audience.
I'm ready for that journey. Speaking of journeys, you mentioned tours. Any hints about where she might be headed?
Sadly, her website is about as useful as a chocolate teapot on that one. Upcoming tour dates, yes, but no locations. It seems we'll have to wait and see.
Brutal. Dangling that carrot, but just out of reach.
That's all part of the mystery, right? The
Yeah.
anticipation.
Yeah.
It's part of the Miss Electric experience.
Okay, I get it. But let's say I need concrete info on those tour dates. Where do I go?
Her website, for sure. There's a dedicated booking section that's basically a hub for fans and promoters to connect. That's probably the best bet for the latest tour schedule.
Got it. So if I want to see one of those legendary live shows, I better keep my eyes glued to the booking section of her website.
100%. But I'm warning you, she's popular. Those tickets vanish faster than you can say, drop the bass.
No kidding. I've heard stories of her shows selling out in minutes. Okay, so she's huge in the underground scene. But what about mainstream success? Has she cracked into the wider music world yet?
Most of her fans are definitely in the underground, yeah. But the mainstream music scene has noticed her talent. Remember those interviews, the features in magazines?
Yeah, praising her unique sound and her contribution to the techno genre.
Exactly. All signs that she's starting to break out beyond the underground. She even got featured on Rolling Stone's 10 Artists You Need to Know list last year. That's huge.
So she's on the map, but not quite a household name.
Exactly. Dedicated fan base, critical acclaim, and she's gaining traction in the industry. I think it's just a matter of time before she hits the big time.
That's awesome. Always love to see talented artists get the recognition they deserve.
Same here. And with her innovative sound, those captivating performances, and her dedication to her craft, I have no doubt Miss Electric is on her way to superstardom.
I'm inclined to agree, but for now, she seems happy to rule the underground scene and let her music speak for itself.
And you know what? There's something really respectable about that. Not chasing fame or money, staying true to her roots, letting her passion lead the way, refreshing in an industry that often prioritizes hype over everything else.
Couldn't agree more. It really shows her integrity as an artist. But enough about the future. Let's get back to what we've learned about Miss Electric. And we've covered a lot. We have. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Just a little teaser to get people interested.
Exactly. Think of this as your starting point to delve deeper into the world of Miss Electric. And trust me, it's a world worth getting lost in.
I love that. Getting lost in the world of Miss Electric. Sounds like an adventure for the ears, for the soul even.
You got it. It's about surrendering to the rhythm, feeling that energy, and letting the music transport you. And speaking of transporting, we hadn't even talked about the visual elements of her live performances.
Oh man, don't get me started. Her website mentioned visuals, but it was all very secretive. I need to know more. But you know what? I think we need to save that little nugget for part 2.
I agree. We don't want to overwhelm our listeners with too much information. Give them time to digest everything we've discussed so far.
Exactly. So we'll be back soon with even more insight into Miss Electric. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, I have to admit, that cliffhanger about the visuals in Miss Electric shows has been driving me crazy. We have to talk about that. Her website was being super mysterious, but it sounded like way more than just your typical lights and lasers, right?
You're telling me. You picked up on that too, huh? It's like she's going for something deeper, like a full-on sensory experience. Think about it. Techno's already so immersive, so physical. Adding visuals to that just kicks everything up a notch.
Right, I'm imagining those hypnotic rhythms we talked about, but now there's something visual to match that intensity. Did her website give any hints about what these visuals actually look like? Vague. Very vague. Which honestly just adds to the intrigue. They use words like complement and enhance. Truly immersive experience. It's clear these visuals are very intentional, not just decoration. They're part of the story she's telling with the music.
Okay, now I'm picturing something seriously impressive. Are we talking crazy lasers, smoke machines, giant LED screens, projections on the dancers?
Honestly, I wish I knew. The website doesn't get into specifics. It's kind of like trying to imagine a color you've never seen before. But the thing is, even without actually seeing them, we know these visuals are crucial to her whole artistic vision.
That's true. She's not just creating a concert, it's like she's building a whole world for the audience to step into. And those visuals are the key to getting in.
Exactly. And remember how we talked about her being a sound sculptor? I think she's doing the same thing visually, shaping the visuals to match the music and create this cohesive experience. It's art, not just show.
I love that. Okay, before we go too far down the rabbit hole, let's switch gears a bit. We were talking earlier about her connection to the underground techno scene and how that shaped her music. But her website also mentioned this desire to kind of push the boundaries of the genre to explore what she called future possibilities.
Definitely. And you see that tension, that balance between honoring the tradition, but also pushing forward in everything she does. It's like she's standing with one foot in the past, recognizing the roots of techno, and the other foot in the future, pulling the whole genre forward with her.
Wow, that is a cool way to put it. So how is she actually doing that? What makes her approach to techno so forward-thinking?
It's multi-layered, you know. It's her willingness to play with different sounds, bringing in stuff from other genres without ever losing that core techno sound. It's also her use of technology, both when she's producing and in her live sets, to create these incredibly immersive experiences. It's more than just listening to music.
Can you give me an example? I'm trying to imagine what that sounds like.
Okay, think about those live sets we were talking about. She's known for using really cutting-edge mixing techniques, blending tracks so smoothly that it's like she's composing on the fly, reacting to the energy of the crowd in real time. It's like watching a painter create a masterpiece, but with sound and technology instead of brushes.
Okay, I am getting chills. It's like she's taking that raw energy, that DIY spirit of underground techno, and injecting it with this next level artistry and innovation.
Exactly. That's what makes her so exciting. She takes risks. She pushes boundaries. She's redefining what a techno artist can be. And it's refreshing, especially in a genre that can sometimes feel a bit too predictable.
Totally agree. Okay, so we've talked about her innovative sound, her dedication to the underground scene, her desire to push boundaries. But what about the heart of her music? Her website hints at something deeper, something that connects with people on a different level. What's your take on that?
That's the really interesting part. Because for all the technical skill, all the experimentation, there's this vulnerability, this emotional honesty in her music you just can't ignore. It's like she's pouring her heart and soul into every single beat, every synth line, every layer of sound.
That's the authenticity, right? You can feel the emotion behind the music.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
raw, it's real, and it hits you hard. And I think that's what resonates with people on such a deep level. It's not just about dancing, it's about feeling something real, something true.
It's like she's giving a voice to those feelings, those emotions that we don't always have the words for, and she's doing it through the music.
Exactly. That's the power of techno, isn't it? It connects with us on this primal, almost subconscious level. And Miss Electric has tapped into that in a way that's both unique and captivating.
No argument there. So we've got this incredible artist. She's a technical genius, passionate about the underground scene, and a master at making us feel something through her music. But what about her fans? What's the Miss Electric fan base like?
Well, from what I've seen online, they are just as passionate about her music as she is. They love her authenticity, her willingness to try new things, and her dedication to underground techno. And it's very clear that she values her fans deeply.
That's really cool. It sounds like she's cultivating a community as much as she's building a career.
You said it. It's not just the music. It was that shared experience, that sense of belonging is something special.
Totally. But I wonder, how does she balance staying true to her artistic vision while also staying connected to her fans? It can't be easy to meet those expectations while also staying true to yourself.
You're right, it's a delicate dance. But one thing we've learned about Miss Electric is that she doesn't shy away from challenges.
Hmm.
She's amazing at finding that balance between giving the fans what they want and also pushing them a little bit out of their comfort zone.
And from the sold out shows and amazing reviews, it seems to be working. But with all this buzz, do you think she'd ever consider crossing over to the mainstream?
That's the big question, isn't it? She definitely has what it takes, the talent, the drive, the originality. She could make it huge in the mainstream. But there's a certain purity, a rawness to what she's doing now that might get lost in the mainstream machine.
Yeah, it's a tough one. On one hand, it would be incredible to see her music reach more people, to see her get the recognition she deserves on a bigger stage. But on the other hand, there's something to be said for staying true to your roots, to the scene that helped you grow.
That's it exactly. And knowing Miss Electric, I bet she's very aware of that. She's not going to sell out for fame or money. But at the same time, she's not afraid to try new things, to push boundaries.
So what's next? What does the future hold for Miss Electric?
Well, if her website is any indication, she's got big plans. New music, new collaborations, and of course those legendary live shows. But honestly, what's most exciting about Miss Electric is that sense of mystery, that unpredictability. We know she's going to keep innovating, keep surprising us.
And that anticipation is half the fun. It's like waiting for the next chapter in a really good book.
Exactly. That's the beauty of being a Miss Electric fan. You're in for the ride, and you know it's going to be incredible.
Speaking of a ride, remember that whole visuals mystery we are obsessing over? Well, guess what? We've got even more on that, and it's good. But we should probably take a quick break before we really dive into that. Don't want to overload our listeners, right?
Agreed. We've covered a lot already. Let's give everyone a moment to process and then come back ready for the final part of our deep dive into Miss Electric.
All right, we are back for part 3 of our deep dive into the world of Miss Electric. And I have to say, that whole visuals mystery has been on my mind since we last left off. What's the scoop?
Buckle up, because what I found is seriously next level. Remember how her website kept things vague, talking about immersion and enhancing the
Oh,
music?
yeah, it was all very hush-hush.
Right. Well, I did some digging, and it turns out she's been working with this visual artist who's also making waves in the underground scene. We're talking projections mapped onto these constantly shifting surfaces, all perfectly synced to the music.
Wait, hold on. Map projections, like the whole venue is part of the show, not just some screen behind her.
You got it. Imagine those hypnotic rhythms. But now, picture the walls pulsing with light, geometric patterns morphing and changing in time with the beat. There are even rumors of her using this technology to create holographic effects on stage. People are saying her shows are less like concerts and more like stepping inside a living, breathing work of art.
This is blowing my mind. So she's not just a musician, she's practically directing a whole production.
Exactly. And it's not just about being flashy or overwhelming the audience with technology either. Remember, this is the same artist who's all about raw emotion, authenticity, connecting with the audience on a deeper level. It's like she's found a way to translate those same ideas into a visual language.
So it's not just visuals that accompany the music, they're actually in conversation with the music.
That's a great way to put it. And think about what that does for the audience. It's a whole other level of connection. You're not just listening to the music, you're fully immersed in her world, her vision.
Okay, now I'm really kicking myself for not catching one of her shows yet. But, not everyone can be lucky enough to see her live.
And this is where it gets really fascinating.
Yeah.
Because while her website might be pretty tight-lipped on the specifics, the fan accounts, pure gold. People aren't just saying, good show. They're talking about out-of-body experiences, feeling like they understood something about themselves through the music and the visuals.
Wow. So it's more than just a show. It's like a spiritual experience.
That's the sense I get, yeah. And, it makes sense when you think about it. We've talked about how techno can tap into something primal, something we can't always put into words. And that other layer of visual stimulation, perfectly in sync with the music. It's like unlocking a whole new level of perception.
Mind officially blown. Okay, so where can someone even begin to experience this for themselves? Her website mentioned upcoming projects. Anything good in there?
They like to keep things cryptic. But there was this one line that caught my eye, something about a multi-sensory installation. No one seems to know what it is exactly. A concert, an art exhibit, something else entirely.
Classic Miss Electric.
Yeah.
Always keeping us guessing. She really does refuse to be put in a box, doesn't she?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
in a world that's always trying to categorize and define everything, that's incredibly refreshing.
After spending all this time learning about her, I think what strikes me most about Miss Electric is her dedication to her vision. She's not following trends, she's not selling out for a quick buck, she's doing things her own way, and people are responding to that.
Couldn't agree more. She's proof that real artistry comes from following your own path, even if it's not the most popular one.
And in her case, it seems like that path leads straight to the dance floor, lights pulsing, music thumping, and everyone ready to get lost in the moment.
Ready for that sonic journey we keep talking about.
Absolutely. So, for our listeners out there who are now as hooked on Miss Electric as we are, where should they go to stay in the loop?
The website's still your best bet, cryptic teasers and all, but I also recommend checking out the fan forums. That's where you'll find the latest info on shows, the inside scoop on those amazing visuals, and a whole community of people who are just as passionate about this artist as we are.
Consider that your homework, everyone. Go explore the sonic world of Miss Electric, and who knows, maybe we'll see you on the dance floor at one of her shows. Until then, keep those speakers pumping, keep those minds open, and as always, thanks for joining us for the deep dive.